Hey, welcome back to Opposites in a Nutshell. I'm Shay, and welcome to our very first ever bonus episode. So, if you listen to the travel episode where Jasmine and I kind of talked about how we travel and some of our travel experiences and fun stories, weird stories, then this is a continuation of that conversation. So, if you haven't caught that yet, I would recommend you go watch that episode and then come finish it up here. But hey, if you don't want to listen to us, that's fine. You can just watch this bonus episode, which has a lot of tips and tricks and different ways to, save money and how to travel smart and all that fun stuff. So anyway, here we go with our very first bonus episode. And we've kind of thrown in like some tips and tricks as we've been telling our stories, but for me,
Any quick tips that you have?
Yeah, so for me, one of the ones I already mentioned was like, doing research on the places that you're going to, and like places that are safe, places that are that you'll want to avoid. Yeah, that's at least for me. I think also, so for me, I have a travel budget built into my savings. So like, as I'm saving money, I put aside a certain amount of money that goes towards whatever trips I want to take. So like whether I have a trip planned or not, like I already have money kind of, that's collecting for any trips that are going to come. And so I think that helps out, at least if you like financial responsibility and stuff like that, of having that built in. I use a lot of different apps. None of these are sponsors. This is just what I do.
Not yet.
Not yet. So Hopper, Scott's, Cheap Tickets, and Cheap DFW, if y'all want to sponsor your girls.
Come on. Opposites in a nutshell. We'll send people your way.
Add Airbnb to that list. But those are some of the apps that I use. To like for Hopper, that's one for, it tracks flights. And so you can put in the dates that you're looking at going to a specific place, and it will kind of tell you the best time to purchase those tickets. So far, it hasn't led me astray. It's been pretty good. I've been able to get really good deals on certain flights. Scott's Cheap Tickets, I don't know if this is like their normal rate, but I pay like $20 for it, like for a year. And they send me all these different deals that they have coming up for different flights. If ever, this was a good one. So last year in 2021, there was this flight that was going, it was United, and it was going to Tokyo. And literally those flights were, they were going for $250 to Tokyo. And so
From the United States to Tokyo.
From the United States to Tokyo. And that's unheard of. I found out about that from one of my friends. She called me. She's like one of my travel buddies, but she called me and she was like, "Hey, so there's these tickets that they're showing up for $250. She was like, "Would you be interested in going to Tokyo?" I'm like, "Dude, tickets are $250. Even if I'm not interested in going to Tokyo, we're going." And so we went ahead. I bought tickets. She bought tickets. Her sister bought tickets. I think her parents also bought tickets. My parents bought like it was about to be a whole trip.
I tried to get tickets,
and I was like, "It's now or never." And you missed your
man.
chance.
I should have been asleep. I should not have been asleep.
And so, anyways, but like Scott's Cheap Tickets, I know like they were advertising for that, and that was like an awesome deal. The suckiest part of it was by the time the dates came up for us to go on that trip, Tokyo was still closed. And so we were like, whatever, that's how my family ended up going to the Dominican Republic. But literally 2 weeks after the date we were supposed to go, that's when they opened the borders. I was like, we're never going to get $250 tickets again. But Scott's Cheap Tickets, yeah, they usually do a pretty good job of that. And then Cheap DFW, they're on Facebook, Instagram, they have a website, but like I've been following them for a long time. I don't feel like they're posting many trips recently.
There was a really long, because I have Cheap DFW too.
Okay.
For a long time, maybe 6 months or so, I didn't see anything, but just recently this week I've seen a couple posts.
Oh yeah?
Yeah, but there was a really big gap that I didn't see anything.
Yeah.
But
so
I don't know if that
yeah, we didn't. I clearly did not do my research prior to saying this, but that's another source to check. yeah, Airbnb is a good way to get more bang for your buck. Miles and points, that's another one.
Can you describe what Airbnb is? I mean, just because you described Hopper, just in case someone does not know what Airbnb
So
is.
Airbnb is basically it's like Uber but for living. That's a terrible description. Okay, no, let me try this again. Okay, Airbnb is basically it's a website that you can go where people put their homes out for you to be able to stay in, that you can basically rent for. It's like renting a place for a short period of time. They also have long period of time ones, but that's pretty much what it is. So like, for example, when I went to New York with my friends, we got an Airbnb and we were able to stay in this like apartment, or I think it was an apartment for the time that we were there, and we got a really good deal on it. It was way cheaper than if we had gone a hotel room. And it was in a good neighborhood. So it's a pretty good resource. Sometimes, depending on if you have like if you have like points or something with credit cards, or if you have like the honors programs with some of these hotels, sometimes you're able to get really good deals on that. Because like even for Atlanta, one of the days I'm going to be spending in a hotel, because that's my one day to myself. And that room was paid for with my points, because nice. I have Hilton honors, and so like every time I stay in a Hilton hotel, I'm gaining points. And then also like if you're into credit cards and stuff, if you have their credit card, you can rack up points that way. Same thing with miles with flights. And so I always recommend signing up, because they're free. You pay nothing to sign up for like membership or whatever they call it for airlines or for hotels. And so get your points that way. Couple last things: make copies of your important documents. So I always have a copy of my passport when I'm traveling, and I have a copy of my ID just in case anything happens. If it gets lost, like I'm still able to identify who I am. And the last one, I've never really been big on travel insurance, but with COVID and all these other things that have kind of started coming up, I recently started getting more travel insurance when I take trips, and it has come in handy because there's been a couple of trips where I've actually had to use the travel insurance. And they've been able to pay for, like, if a flight, I've missed one flight in my whole life. When that happened, they took care of everything, that, like, whatever we had to pay for, the extra day of, whatever, they took care of all of that stuff. There was a flight that had to get rescheduled when I was in El Salvador for a mission trip on our way back. And so for the extra day we spent there, they paid for our hotel rooms. They paid for all the food that whatever money was spent during that time, they took care of. So travel insurance is another one that I recommend.
So my list is very similar. So tips to piggyback on the making copies of your important documents. So, and you didn't say this, but I'm assuming that this is how you feel as well. You make copies and you put them in two separate places, right? So you keep your passport or your driver's license in your luggage, but you also keep a copy of it in your back pocket.
Yeah.
Or in your handbag or your wallet or your purse.
Yeah.
So while you're out, you have those copies, but your true passport is in your luggage,
right,
locked up in your Airbnb or in your hotel room.
Yeah.
So keep it in two separate places. So my tips, I want to say, if you're new to traveling or you want to get started traveling, you can start close to home from wherever you live and just take a day trip. Take a trip that takes a few hours. Go to the next city over if you've never been. Just start there. I know gas prices are high right now, but fill up your tank of gas. You work hard for your money, right? You work full time. You got to get out for your own mental health and just to do something different. So fill up your tank, get in your car, and go. Right. When you do travel, try and immerse yourself with the people, the food, and the landscape. With the people, having those conversations, being kind, not naive, but being kind.
Yeah.
And then the food, trying new foods. If you always go to one certain place, maybe try something different. Like, don't go out of the country and have McDonald's.
Please. Though McDonald's outside of the country slaps.
Sure.
No, for real. Like
I have heard. And then the landscape. Like, go and just get grounded with nature where you go, because again, I just truly believe that God made so much beauty on this earth.
Yeah.
So if you can, Just get grounded. If it's not something that you're usually into, like hiking, or you hate the beach, just go for an hour or two.
Yeah.
I second staying at an Airbnb to save money and to, again, get immersed in the culture. I recommend staying in a hostel as well, because in an Airbnb, you may or may not be, you may be in someone's home, but they may not be living there. This may be their investment property, right?
Those are the ones I stay at. I specifically check entire place because I'm not trying to.
You want the
live
whole
with somebody
place to
else.
yourself.
Yes.
So, well, and that's cool. But if you're a solo traveler, a young woman, you're in your 20s, or a young man, you're in your 20s, and you stay at a hostel, you get an opportunity to not be alone on your trip, especially if you're going for either a long period of time or you're going somewhere where the hotels are so expensive. Staying in a hostel will save you so much money. Whereas, you know, you go to LA or San Diego, staying in a hotel out there is $200 a night, right? Staying in a hostel is $40.
Wow.
And it's hands down, why would you not?
Yeah.
Well, and I'm just gonna say they are safe. If you find the hostels on the certain websites that are safe, I don't know any. I found the hostels that I've always stayed at on Airbnb, but there may be other websites.
Yeah.
Maybe we can put something in the description of the video. Leave the resort. Go to an all-inclusive resort. Either take one of those guided tours that they offer you. You buy that beforehand, or you get off the resort safely with your group, and y'all just go 5 miles out and just get off the resort and experience that. Yeah. Because on the resort, everyone is being nice, they're being kind, it's their job. But you can get off and still experience really nice people. When you go on a cruise, bring 2 bottles of wine or liquor and put in your luggage. Yes, it's allowed. Whether or not you buy the alcohol package and get the wristband or not, bring your own bottles. Okay? Because whenever you get into the room, which you don't spend that much time in the room when you're on a cruise, you really don't. You're doing all the entertainment. You're lounging out by the pool. You spend sleeping in your room. Right. That's just the truth of it. So when people are like, "Oh, it's such a tiny room," girl, you ain't gonna be in there for too long. Yeah, you're really not. You're gonna be up and doing the things. Yeah. Especially if you're single, right? If you're going on a solo trip and you're with your friends, y'all are up and you're doing things. Right. If you're with your significant other, then you want to maybe get the suite room so that you can have a little bit more space between the two of y'all. If you go with your kids, you want to get the ones that have the bunk beds. But otherwise, you're not in the room that long. Anyway, bring your 2 bottles. For young people, try and get a scholarship. If you're, again, I don't know if super young people are listening to this, but if you're 16, 17, 18, or those ages, or you're a parent of someone those ages, send them to camp. Send them to summer camp. I know, moms, it's hard. It's a little bit, you're a little nervous, but send them. They will get exposed to different people and different ways of doing things. They'll learn a lot. They're going to be in a safe place. It's going to grow them. It's going to grow their character. Their leadership, it will grow them. So send them on those trips. Broke college students, use Spirit Airlines. I know it gets a bad rap, but if you got to get somewhere to get home to your family for the holidays, use Spirit. You're only on the plane for 2.5 hours. Use Spirit. That's travel with the backpack on Spirit. Don't check your luggage because it costs more. You can buy your ticket. This is a little known fact. Not a lot of people know this. You can buy your ticket. Spirit and Frontier, I think, are the only ones. But I know for certain for Spirit, because I've done it several times. You can, if you live close to the airport, right? I live extremely close to the airport in my city. If you live close to the airport, you drive up to the airport, you park, you go in, you wait at the ticket counter, you ask them for their penny flights. If you don't know where you're going, you're just like, oh, I need a penny flight for end of the year. I want to go somewhere in the end of the year. She'll type it up and she'll say, oh, well, you can go from Texas to LA for $15. Would you like to buy that ticket? You leave on a Thursday and you come back on a Sunday. Yeah, I would. Wow. Right? Even if you don't do that, if you're not in a spontaneous mood, you can still go up to the airport and buy your ticket. Hey, I know for sure I'm going from Atlanta to Detroit on these days. I want to buy my ticket. Okay, it'll be $130. Oh, but the website said it was going to be $300. Yeah, but if you come to the airport, we give you a discount. You save at minimum $60 per ticket if you buy it at the counter compared to buying it on the website. So little known tip that not a lot of people know about. Only on Spirit. My very last one is if you're buying tickets for anything, hotel and air, those are the only ones I know of. I'm not sure about concerts and things like that, but for traveling, use an incognito browser because, of course, everything on the internet is seen.
Yeah.
But in an incognito browser, you'll find that it's not tracked that you looked for those flights.
Yeah.
And because prices change so much in the internet verse, when you search in an incognito browser, you're more likely to find fresh numbers.
Yeah.
Compared to, I looked this up yesterday. It was $100, and today it's $200. How did it change that quickly?
Yeah.
In an incognito browser, you'll still have access to that. You'll have access to that $100 flight.
Yeah.
I don't know who came up with this and the algorithm and all that, and I'm sure it benefits those who own the airlines and whatnot. But
because they see you're interested in that
they see you're interested.
Yeah.
And if they see that you
hotel.
wouldn't mind spending that much money, they're going to keep it there or raise it.
Yeah.
Incognito browsers.
Yeah. No, those
my
are
tips.
Those are solid. I think also you can kind of see the difference in your tips versus mine. Some of the things like when you mentioned hostels.
Yeah.
Or when you mentioned Spirit. I was like,
no shame in my game.
No shame whatsoever. And I'm here for it. But yeah. Anyways, so those are some of the tips that we've kind of been able to use in our lifetime of traveling and that we continue to use when we do take trips. So hopefully that can kind of help you get out there, see the world, because there's a lot to see outside of your city. Literally, kind of like Jasmine said, like even if it's just driving an hour away or something, getting to see a different part of, where you live, and getting to see how people experience life there. Like it just widens your perspective on like your view on life.
Right.
So anyway, in closing, let's just quick fire, like where are some places that you want to go?
Yes. Okay. And if any of y'all are listening, live in these areas, please
hit us up.
Comment, let us know.
Jasmine will come stay with you. I'll do a little background check.
That's for sure. She'll do the background check. I'll just be like, well, what's your address? I'm coming. What do you need me to bring? I'll bring you something from here. Right? All I need is a name and an address. Okay. Africa, Japan, New Zealand, Ireland, London, Brazil, and Jordan.
Nice. Brazil was on my list at some point. I mean, it's still a place I would like to go, but like I would say top places, if I had to say like maybe top 3. So, okay, I guess that's not top 3, but Australia, I haven't been to Australia yet. So that continent, any country in South America, so I can check that continent off as well. But outside of those, I would say Austria, because I want to do the Sound of Music tour, France, because I need to see the Eiffel Tower, and Singapore. And low-key Crazy Rich Asians is what put me on Singapore. After that, I was like, listen, Singapore, hit me up.
Yes. Love it.
Yeah. So anyway, that's us, our travel fun. Do you have any closing words of encouragement or tips or any? Well, not tip. We just went over tips, but just kind of an encouragement.
No, I really believe that, like Shay was saying, there's just so much to experience. And I mean, God made so many beautiful landscapes. He spoke into existence beautiful landscapes, and people. So if you have the opportunity, please just take some time for yourself and go.
Yeah.
Either go by yourself or go with family or friends.
Yeah.
But definitely go. And parents, please know that when you expose your kids to traveling, it definitely makes a difference.
Yeah.
So do that. And
we're examples of that.
Yeah. Even if it's small or it's tiring, like I get tired too with my kids. It's hard traveling with kids. It is.
Yeah.
But yeah, do it. Definitely do it. I would say pray for an opportunity if you're wanting an opportunity. Pray for an opportunity, and then go, and it'll change your life.
Yeah. Well, sounds good. I'm good with that. I don't have any closing remarks, so we can call that a day. But thank you guys so much for joining us. We hope you had as much fun as we did thinking through different travel things and hearing our crazy stories. If you have any crazy stories, share them with us, because we would love to hear from you guys and to learn more about the people that are listening to our crazy shenanigans. All right. On that note, until next time, later.